Super GT has decided to drag Nick and I to a track walk, kicking and screaming. They call us professionals, but track walks are not our thing. Strategy. Well,
Drive fast, don't crash.
what are we doing now?
Right now,
Yes.
making a video.
All right. Okay, so what we're actually doing is, this is practice now. There's like 35 minutes. Alvarez, the pro, Super GT, he's going to do the big laps now.
Say hello to everybody.
Ciao. We're back. Barely though. Barely. So as usual, we're going to hang out a bit while we hopefully get more people to load up and come enjoy a little bit of onboard stories at Lamar. And then we're going to drive the F1 car in iRacing, which I've become completely addicted to lately. I think it's the only car that I have chosen to drive in the sim without there having to be a live stream or an event or some kind of bug testing or setup test or anything like that. It's the first time in ages that I've been able to take a car on a sim that I want to do in my free time and just sort of hang out, and doesn't matter what lap time I do. Not necessarily. You know, I still want to go fast, but obviously there's a limit to that. So if you start to try break lap records or whatever, it can get quite frustrating, and you want to avoid that when you're enjoying your time on a sim. When I do get too intense, and Nick Foster can, what do you call it, attest to this, I tense up. So anyway, the F1 car has been a lot of fun to drive. I don't know if any of you have tried it at the Nordschleife, but it is insane. So yeah, on the weekend I was driving Road Atlanta, Road America, Nürburgring, Imola, and I think the reason I've been enjoying it so much is, well, usually when I drive the GT cars in ACC or iRacing, I'm always going, well, you know, that's not how it handles, or that's not what happens in real life, or that's wrong and this is right, and so on. When I drive the F1 car, I'm as naive or as ignorant as anyone else who hasn't driven one. And I think to myself, I think that's how it would feel. So that's been a really cool experience to just sort of get used to, or to drive a car that I have no idea what it's like. It's the same when I play Dirt. Dirt Rally is also a game that I just play in my quiet time. I have no idea how a dirt car is. So I just, it feels like it looks on TV. So there's that illusion, that sense of illusion that that you lose when you've driven the car in real life and you have a direct comparison. Yeah, moved to a new place. The reason I haven't been streaming for a while is because I didn't have an internet connection in the house. I was using a little dongle, and I did a test stream just unlisted, um, and it was a disaster. The dongle just kept failing. So finally, yesterday we finally got internet. I was meant to stream on Tuesday, didn't get the time because the Wi-Fi wasn't working. They finally fixed it yesterday, and so here we are. Woo! We're jolling on. Is it a Friday or was it Thursday? I think it's Friday. It's Friday. Yeah. So what we got in store? We got an onboard story from Lamar. Um, I think I have the best lap. Yes, I have the best lap, and I also have the full session. So yeah, let's just see here. Um, I don't know if I'm actually allowed to show this stuff, but whoa, but we're gonna give it a try. Hot laps, baby. Nick Foster is the master of the hot lap. He does all of our data runs for iRacing, and he's in chat, so you can spam him chat. All right, let's see here. Let's try and move that down. I just want to see if I can get all the other iRacing, sorry, not iRacing, the other Lamar full session. I just want to see what this involves. How long am I in the car? Because if I can show you more than one lap, um, yeah, we'll just have more to talk about, I suppose. Yeah, so there's about 20 minutes in there. There's about 20 minutes in there. Okay, so first request, everybody, please hit the like button as usual, and then get some more people going, joining in. And we could play some Circuit Superstars, but we can't play Circuit Superstars because I don't know where I put the PlayStation remote in this move. So I'm just gonna have to keep you guys busy. I live in London. I wish I lived in South Africa where the sun is shining, but I don't get that option because of racing. So yeah, the the travel is too much. So this year, for example, I think I traveled. Well, uh, I was not in the same country for for 2 consecutive weekends from February till November, something like that. I exaggerate. I was in Dubai for 2 consecutive weekends, and I was in Lamar for 2 consecutive weekends. I definitely wasn't at home for 2 consecutive weekends. So yeah, that was also a project for November. I always had been wanting to move for a very long time now, but there was no travel window for me. I also had to replace my driving license for a UK one that takes ages. Couldn't do that while I was racing, so it was quite nice to spend all of November in London and be able to move and stuff and all that. Um, Also upgraded the camera, which has now got like it's a Sony ZV-1. Was a bit of a mission to set up, if I'm honest, but here we are. So, what should we do first? F1 or Lamar? The key here is to make Nick Foster, who's in the chat, get bored enough that he closes his phone, and then we can do the onboard story. So, what is your suggestion? I know you guys all want to see the Lamar onboard. I know that. Lamar, 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 Formula One. Guys, the F1 is just crazy. Lamar from Gabriel, what's happening, Gabs? Hope you're well, my man. Look at the camera for 40 minutes. Lamar, spam Nick, do it. iRacing, Lamar, F1. Okay. 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 So let me just review what this actually is here. I'll give you the whole backstory of what it's like to practice at Lamar. This is the second practice session of official test day, because after that you have to take out the camera. So let's just skip like the outlap. I have no idea. I don't actually remember much about this. I remember the last flying lap clearly because we had a Glickenhaus block us, which you'll get to. Okay, we're gonna start in this lap here. So I even tried to set up. I like created like new. I created new sort of scenes as well. So let's see if those work. Let's go to. Yeah, of course, it works. Alrighty. Okay, so let's just quickly do a sound check. Is this too loud? That looks very loud from audio balancing. So tell me, is that too loud, chat? I'm just going to turn it down a little bit more. Too loud? How's about that? It's loud. Okay. How's that? Alrighty. So I think that's... Okay, I'm just going to turn it down a fraction more. Okay, cool. Alright, so let's rewind. Now, the thing about Le Mans is that on the official test day, everyone's playing a game of BOP because they have dynamic BOP in this series, and they measure the GTE AM cars against the lap time of the pros. So they don't want the AM cars to be too close to the pros. So if we get too close to GT Pro, they basically take away boost. And the way that they manage that, they compare the GT AM Ferraris versus the GT Pro Ferraris, GT Aston versus the Pro Aston. Now this year there was no Pro Aston, so the Astons in particular on the straights had a lot of top speed, and they showed too much lap time in this official test. So in the morning they were like 2 seconds up the road, and in the afternoon miraculously they were 2 seconds slower than everyone else. So it was a 4 second jump back in lap time. Strange that, right? That's the game of Le Mans. You're always trying to just manage your performance. It's an open secret. Everyone does it. Everyone talks about it. So for anyone who's involved, you have to just be careful. And this kind of sandbagging happens in all kinds of racing, but it's the most that I've experienced at any track. Manufacturers take Le Mans so seriously that it affects your performance in the European Le Mans and Asian Le Mans. They will literally, and WEC as well. They'll dial back. They'll sacrifice wins in those races just so you can get a good opportunity at Le Mans. The thing is though, because everyone does it, you always sort of land up in the same lap time. So despite us driving slower here, everyone's driving slower. Um, we're all in the same window. All right, let's go. So I don't know what lap this. Okay, no, that's gear 5. It says lap 1, but that's 23 minutes into the session if you look at the top right. Too wide there, classic. I'll just keep quiet for lap. I need a refresher as well about what the hell is going on here. I can tell you that my final lap of the practice day was the quickest for GTE AM, and I got into a lot of trouble for that, as explained earlier. Track limits 1x. So this is my first time at Le Mans in a GTE. I raced here last year in the Le Mans Cup, and that was in a GT3 with ABS. Without ABS, it's a very different story. And the whole technique of braking and how you approach a chicane is different. With the GT3s, you brake all the way into this chicane here. You've got the purple lights, which means your ABS is firing. If you did that in the GTE, you're going to have problems. You're going to lock up flat spots and so on. Yeah, GTE has no ABS. I got in trouble because you don't want to show pace. So by going fastest, you get a hiding. Why did you do that? Don't be fast on test days. So 296 during testing and 305 in the race. Top speeds I'm referring to. 302 or 305, 302, 302 in the race. Yeah. Also with slipstreams and stuff. Also, on the test days to save the engines, you don't run maximum power. No one does, because you got to use this engine for the whole week, and you do 12, almost 12 hours of testing or something like that. It's pretty mental. Favorite track in real life is at the moment it's Portimao, but it's between Imola and Portimao, and I really like Le Mans, so Le Mans is in my top 3 because I like Le Mans. Driving around here is surreal. I spent my whole life trying to get to Le Mans, so when I finally did, it was just crazy to be here, crazy to be on the track, crazy to see that it's me driving this car at the moment. It still doesn't register. The cool thing is though that unless something goes drastically wrong, I will be back here next year. So favorite section has to be Indianapolis that we just went through. That's Toyota LMDH, and Porsche Curves is insane. Porsche Curves is insane. You don't necessarily like hide your pace because they can see your sector times, but you're definitely not pushing to the absolute limits with braking and so on. Yeah. How do you prepare for Le Mans? Simulator, I suppose. It's not a very physical race. Mentally draining, but not very physical. I did also like the Ford chicanes, which is where we are here. That's a Glickenhaus. Glickenhaus were the most aggressive cars throughout the tests and the race as well. Oh, okay, so here comes the best lap. Okay, so I'll just keep quiet for my best lap in practice. I will keep quiet now, promise. Before I start, you see what the Glickenhaus did there? That's him managing their BOP. So how do you hide your pace? Look at this. You just brake test everyone. Watch this. So I think that he's going to prepare for a lap now. Instead, boom. He even blocked me as well. So that almost could have ended as a crash. Anyway, okay. No talking. What's happening, DJ? Unique also. I mean, there was not much traffic on this lap either, except for the start of the lap, where I had to start the lap from 0 kph. But it's nice to have no traffic as well. GTE, yes, GTE. Yeah, he wanted to block me. He wasn't trying to block me. He just wanted to slow his pace down Very easy to lock here, by the way. But I'll talk about the Michelins in a sec. He wanted to slow his pace down, but he didn't want me to get in front of him, so he'd have to re-overtake me for his lap. So by the way, that hum that you can hear in the background, it's not a normal sound. It's just something from the interior that was vibrating. There's like a deep hum in the onboard. So game designers, don't use that for your sound checks. Alrighty. So that was the best lap of my Sunday, and then I came in and I was in trouble. And I kind of knew that was happening because I saw, okay, I started the lap slow. It doesn't matter. Um, yeah, in the GTE, you can really go down the gears quite aggressively. We have something. It's not ABS. It's it's called anti-lock, but it's only for the rear. So the rear can sense when, and you set it very low. So it's actually not that influential. But the rear, uh, the engine can sense when the rear tires are locking, and it adds a little bit of throttle. But in the GTE, you can shift down really, really quickly, like bam, 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 like that. Whereas the GT3 is a little bit more delayed. Um, so yeah, so I mean, the ironic thing is, even though I was fastest on the Sunday, um, Porsche, the Aston Martin, and the Ferrari, we were all in the same tenth, and then the next fastest of each of those manufacturers was each only a tenth away in their own little cluster. So there was nothing, there was no, the sector times were the same and everything. Uh, yeah, there's downshift protection, but in GTE you can really just bang down the gears quite aggressively. Uh, well, there's a specific section on track where you can't hear radio messages. So someone's asking where you don't want to hear it. Ideally, if you don't, if it would be ideal if you didn't get radio messages in Porsche curves. Um, but sometimes what happens is I'll hear a radio message and I'll like store it somewhere. It's weird how that works. And then 10 seconds later you respond. Um, if you message me in Porsche curves, I'm not responding. It's going to be a while. Engine brake map. Um, yeah, we don't have engine brake maps like that. We have our anti-lock system, which is not ABS at all, which we almost run it off. That's how little we use it. Yeah, GTE is same class with Fassbender and Leeds, but Fassbender didn't drive here, so yeah. Oopsie. Let's see. Any other questions? What's your approach to learning a new track? Watch onboards, make track notes, and also a simulator. A lot of sim. But the sim isn't to learn exactly where to brake. It's just like, okay, this looks like a second gear corner. This looks like a fourth gear corner. None of the sims are actually that accurate. Looks like on this lap I'm practicing. Oh no, my fuel light is on. So, not ideal. My favorite part of Le Mans is all of Le Mans, but if I had to be very specific, it's definitely Porsche Cups. Yeah, man, if you're at Le Mans next year and we are competing, which we should be, please definitely, if you get access to whichever crowd event they give access to, definitely come say hi and let's get a photo. No question, man. Any inside info on what Valentino's doing? I have information that I'm not. Look, the information I have is not actually that special, but I'm not going to share it. I have no idea what he's doing next year. It's clear to everyone that he's going to try race GTs. I don't know which championship. How much concentration? I used to watch NASCAR. We're going to talk about the F1, don't worry. Most intense part is definitely at night because the rearview mirrors are really shit, and you can't tell when a car's coming. That was the most difficult thing to adapt to, was trying to understand, um, was it an LMP car or a GTE car that's coming up behind me, and you're braking for the corner, bam, 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 and you're like, I don't know what's coming, and you eventually have to turn in. You're like, I gotta go, and you turn in and you hope it's not a prototype, because if it's a prototype, boom, they're gonna be on the inside. Very strict track limits during the race weekend. Not so much, not so much during this practice though. How do you feel when your first time out in pit lane of Le Mans? For me, surreal. Like, best experience of my life. There was nothing about Le Mans except for one little thing which I didn't like. It was just the best thing ever. I didn't have a spotter. Some teams do have spotters. I didn't have a spotter for this race. So, 16-year-old driving at United. I actually met him on the grid last year. Um, hey, more power to him, man. I I wish I was able to drive these things at 16 years old. Would have made a huge difference, I think. What do I think of GTE being replaced by GT3? Uh, I I'm sad because the GTEs are the best cars I've ever driven in my life. No question. I mean, I haven't driven everything, but the GTE is like the best experience I've had in a race car, and they're going to be retired at the end of 23. So there's still 2 years left. I, for me, Le Mans is everything, not Nürburgring. I started racing when I was 15. Thoughts that there's no blinking etiquette. Oh, you mean like flashing the lights? Yeah, but you can't tell what it is. Everyone flashes, so Um, I think they are different, but you can't tell at night, guys. It's blinding light. It's like staring into your car's brights times 50. Okay, these brights are brighter than your car brights because you have the regular lights and you have 24-hour lights. So yeah, you're not going to be able to tell the difference. All right, should we do some kind of, I don't know, track guide or something like that? They're getting rid of GTEs because they're too expensive. They're unbelievably expensive. The main differences is GTE has more torque, less horsepower, a little bit less horsepower, no ABS, Michelin confidential tires. So yeah, all right, let's try and do a track guide based on Sunday, the weekend before. So the way that Le Mans works is you have a test on the Sunday before the race, um, and then there's a few days off, and then the race itself. That's what happened last year because of COVID. Usually there's actually a test day on a Sunday, and then a weekend off, and then the race. So there's a 2 week gap. Yeah. V6, V8, V10. Well, no. I mean, the engine sizes, like the Porsche GTE, is the same. It's the same engine size as the Porsche GT3. The Ferrari has a V8 turbo in both the GTE and GT3, and the Aston GTE has the same V8 as the Aston GT3. They may not be exactly the same, but these days they're very similar. Yeah, yeah, there's a huge difference. Okay, right, so approaching turn one, which is the kink. Um, you've got to maximize the entry point here. Let's go to that lap where I got blocked, actually, because that's probably my most accurate lap. I don't know what I was doing on this lap. I don't remember this lap. I remember the other one. Porsche curves, and then, okay, Glickenhaus. All right, so besides the blocking, you maximize the entry here, and then I think in the race on low fuel, I started to take this right-hander flat, but for now, I was doing a lift. And I'm lifting just on the curb, and I'm actually trying to just stay to the right, but I had a tendency to drift to the center, but it's very easy to lock here. Not as much as in iRacing. In iRacing, it's incredibly easy to lock. Um, in real life, it's easy to snatch the brake, so you got to be quite sensitive, but you can still brake pretty hard. The priority here, there's actually a little crest on the left-hander. So if you miss the apex here, if you can see my mouse, if you miss this apex here, then you fall off the track and you run towards the right-hander, which I did in the previous lap. So you want to avoid that as much as you can. Maybe I can use this mouse on my lap to illustrate. So yeah, you want to get onto this curb, but in the race you got to be careful of these things because they've been known to break dampers. So it's a balancing act. If you maximize the curb here, you get a lot of time. So I missed the curb there. Probably. Oh, we were told not to use curbs, by the way. So in practice, and I couldn't quite tell you if half throttle, like I was doing here, or accelerating, coming off and accelerating again was working. Yeah, so maximize the exit here. Easy flat through this part here, which is still pretty fun. Stay close to the right and brake early and into this bank turn here. So you don't want to take don't want to take a traditional line and go wide and in. You actually try and get into the banking as early as you can. And if you don't do that, you miss the apex, and then you can actually have a spin here or whatever if you're not prepared for it. So stay nice and close. Be patient on the power there, because if you get on the power too early, the car will snap, and then it should be easy flat through here. Also easy to get a snap, but more easy to get understeer over the crest and then go into the grass there, which you've seen on TV and has also happened to me in GT3s last year when I drove it for the first time. Thank you so much, my man. I appreciate that you are enjoying the stream. Devore. Devore? Yeah, cool. Gabriel's asking, would you like no chicanes? No, I like the chicanes. I like the chicanes. I like the chicanes. Okay, up over the crest, and now you've got it. I didn't quite nail this until the race. You can take a lot of curb as what you should be doing is getting the outside wheels around here, but I was getting my inside wheels here, which is I basically was missing the apex, which I kept running wide in practice. But I learned later on that if if I use my outside tires here, I wouldn't actually bottom out because I was worried about bottoming out on this curb and then kind of like spinning to the inside, like you would at turn 10 of scene or whatever. So get your outside wheels on the curb here and you'll have a better exit. Whereas here, you'll see now I have quite a lot of steering angle there and have track limits. But when you have that kind of steering angle, you're creating some scrub. So you want to get the car pointed as straight and as quickly as you can for the exit. Um, I learned that by watching Nicky Tim in Quali. He absolutely monstered the curb in the Aston. I was like, oh, okay, maybe it's possible in the Ferrari. And actually, two Ferraris did crash here from taking too much curb. So my conservatism was maybe not unfounded. Okay, going onto the straight. Minimize steering inputs, minimize distance covered. I was usually staying to the inside. I was taking the iRacing line, which I do at Monza as well, around Curva Grande. I hold a tight line. Am I adjusting brake balance? Not in this day. Um, I think in the race we did, but it's mostly um, with these tires, the Michelin tire, you can't believe the braking performance. It's like you have ABS. That's how good they are. That we call it combined when you brake and turn at the same time. the combined performance of the Michelin is unreal, unreal. Right, now you're just trying to remember where you are on the track, and you're counting the brake markers. And especially at night, it can be confusing if you're not paying attention, because you're like, oh shit, did I just miss one? Because you're counting 3, 2, 1. And it's not always easy to see the 300, 200, 100. So that's what takes a lot of concentration. I know it sounds silly, but these are the things that you do on long straights, honestly. So there's a 300, 200, and you're braking somewhere before the 100. Oh yeah, we're braking at that orange thing over here on the left, over there, the Marshall post. But you can probably, I think in the race, I was braking somewhere over there. So yeah, yeah, you can hear I'm braking early. And this line was actually pretty good. Got to get as much curb here and then almost like fall into this left-hander because you can really maximize and use a lot of the exit curb through on the exit of the left-hander. The lowest wing, I'm not allowed to tell you. So yeah, you can actually get a little bit up on the curb there, but I was trying to just stay off it. I was finding lap time there. All right, exit onto the straight, checking mirrors, seeing what's going on, maybe checking fuel numbers, doing a radio check because we had some radio issues here on the test day. Yeah, the speed difference is intimidating at night. During the day, it's actually quite easy. Start to count your markers and brake at the 100. In the race we were. Here it was very easy to lock, but if you got it right and the tire was just locking at the right moment, like just a little snatch before you came off the brake, the thing was on rails. It would like go so quickly into this left-hander, which gave you a nice little open approach for the next right. And then try and get on the power as early as you can. If you use the curb here in real life, the car bottoms out quite badly. So you got to be careful there. You got to get off the curb. If you see that you're going to bottom out, you just turn left and use the runoff on the left-hand side. I'm speaking about the Michelins now. They're amazing. They are amazing. Okay, now heading to Mulsanne corner. So this used to be, never used to be chicanes here, by the way. This is real life, Sally. And they've changed the curb on the approach to Mulsanne, but it didn't actually affect my line. So here, the curb used to be up, like it used to have an angle. Now they've just flattened it and painted it, which is sad, like really sad. But I wasn't really using it. I found that if you try to like cut there too much, you weren't on the ideal line. You want to approach here in as straight a line as possible to avoid locking the inside front, which is very easy to do at this corner. If you can attack very late here, but if you go too late, which I did, you go into the gravel there, and by some miracle, I didn't touch anything, and just got it back onto the straight without any effect. And yeah, that was a night practice, not ideal. Right, now heading down to Indianapolis. If you're in front of a driver that's faster than you, how do you keep your composure? Well, you can't control what they're going to do, so you just have to make sure you don't miss your apexes, run slightly tighter lines. This corner here is epic. It's actually, especially in the Ferrari, you don't want to take too much speed going in. You want to maximize and have full control of the car on the exit so that you can get the next left-hander correct. So here, I try to go in faster and faster, but I was losing so much time at the next corner, and especially in the race, that's a high risk. It's very easy to crash in Indianapolis. So yeah, you still got to go fast. In the race, I was doing 5th gear, but don't go so fast that you're exiting somewhere here. Because then to get it back for the left-hander, you're basically doing too much. You're doing too much sort of work with the body roll. So what I like to do here is get through the bank, stay to the right-hand side, and then arrive here with a flat car. So that when you brake, there's no locking, and then you go into the banking. And I just love the feeling of that that corner there, if you got it right. Yeah. Okay, so then here brake early because there's no grip in this corner. Arnage, there's just no grip. It's so strange. You're not arriving at that quick. Okay, 180. I wouldn't say that's slow, but it's not that quick. It's not like Monza turn one where we're arriving at 295. So you'd expect to be braking much later, but if you brake too late, you will lock that inside tire and you will almost go in the wall on the exit. So brake early and smooth, same as in iRacing, by the way. And then try and get as close to the wall on the exit. If you're in quali mode, you hit push to pass. When you're braking in long stints, you switch off and brake. I feel, no, you always use a marker, my man. Markers are there for consistency, especially in the race. Never ever switch off. Alright, heading to Porsche curves. Some guys were going, approaching it very wide. I saw two Ferraris go off here, so I decided that's not my thing. And you want to stay on the sort of on the track here, I want to say, but you want to avoid the runoff there. There is a bump. Later in the week, I was braking after the bump. Before that, because this is the first test day, I was braking before the bump. You can see it slightly there. So it's better to just brake as you come down on the bump. You brake S6. It's a V6 engine, and the Audi V10 is in GT3s. And these days they can all do 65 minutes of running. All right, so um, Tando was asking about the engine sizes and how it affects fuel consumption. But these days the fuel consumption is the same because what they do is if you have a more fuel efficient car, you're not allowed as much fuel in the fuel tank. And the way that they do that is they put these like plastic balls in the fuel tank to reduce the capacity. So they all get the cars within a 60 to 65-minute window. In GTE, to get to 60 minutes is an achievement most of the time. So anyway, GTEs have smaller fuel tanks, so they're more fuel efficient than GT3s. Approaching the best part of the track, in my opinion. You want to turn in early for this right-hander into Porsche curves. And I tried using this curve here, but the Ferrari don't dig it. So you got to just make sure that you're straddling the curb here, but don't go over, that's for sure. All right. And then this is flat, but not on test day. And then this is, I tried to go flat through here, but you lose too much time on the exit. So, because you go over. So I was doing a small lift at this point here and then accelerating through the apex. And then this part here is also cool. You got to stay close. And when you get it really right, you're barely turning the steering wheel and you get to full throttle quite soon. But I think there's a car coming around the outside. Yeah. Otherwise, I'd be flat before this little bit of grass here. Slight touch of the brakes and turn in early for here, which is called karting. Some people just call the whole thing Porsche curves, but specifically this left hand is karting. And you want to get as much curb here. You want to get onto these sausages here and get on the power as early as you can. So already here, yeah, as I touch the sausages, I'm going full power. But I was conservative there because of the P2. So okay, then going through that, it's just a kink. And it can be confusing there when there's traffic. They don't know which way to go to overtake you, the faster cars. So you have to be careful of that. And then brake. Usually you can brake just at this part here. I almost crashed here. You can actually have very big crashes here, by the way, because if you lose the rear into forward, there's a wall just on the left. And I think it was lunchtime in this test. I tried to brake late, lost the rear. It was actually in this session. I just don't have the video. Lost the rear and managed to somehow save it the other way. But later in the week, someone had exactly the same sort of approach, lost the rear, spun it, boom, wrote off the chassis, which is hundreds of thousands of euros. Not our car, another car. But the point is you can have monsters here. So let me just go back a little bit. Okay, key thing here, maximize curbs as much as you can, depending on the permission for the BOP. So just 1 second. All right. Okay, don't don't hit it, but get as close as you can. These things do damage to your splitters, and it can cost €1,000 to fix the damage that these things do. Brake early here, and I think our second gear, yeah, I was trying first, but I think second was good. Yeah, and just maximize the exit to start a new lap. Boom, and there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That was Le Mans onboard story. Now, just to end, we didn't actually manage to finish the race, unfortunately, because we had a drive shaft failure at like 12 or 1 a.m. But I managed to do my stint, so I am a Le Mans driver. In fact, you get like a little participation medal. That's all that mattered to me, by the way. I just wanted to be a participant in Le Mans. I had no illusions about trying to win the thing. Even if we finished the race, we would have maybe been fourth or third, maybe. There was a little bit of um, attrition in this one, and we were one of the people who had attrition. So that was a bummer. But yeah, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Onboard story from Le Mans. And now, for those of you who want to hang around, we're just gonna do some fun driving at Road America, I think, in the F1 car in iRacing, because I freaking love it. Were you at the wheel while the rain was starting to fall around 12? No, I had about 2 laps of wet. Yeah, it was drizzling. Um, but mostly no. It was honestly, I was really proud. I managed to go from P11 to P4 in sequence. So we had P5, P5, P5. We had a really good run. So yeah. What is the best place to spectate at Le Mans? Porsche Curves. When I first went to Porsche Curves, I I couldn't believe it. I could not believe the speed of the prototypes. The GTEs came through, and I was like, "Oh, that's pretty cool." And um, then the prototypes came through, and I had to recalibrate. I was like, "Is the GTE on an in-lap? No, that's just the difference." And when you're in the GTE car, you are like on the limit through there. Um, and then the prototypes come around the outside like you're standing still. It's unbelievable. Okay, Nico, you said that there's, let me see, Mercedes. No, no, GT Endurance. Disclaimer, not the best iRacer. Not the best iRacer, but let's see. Is there any Ferrari Formula One fixed going on here? Otherwise, we just set up a little custom session. Doesn't look like it. Fixed series on Silverstone. But I'm not good enough, dude. Look, I'm like Class C. I need to be Class D. So, I mean Class B at least. Nordschleife at F1. Yeah, we'll just spend all of our time in we'll just spend all of our time in the wall. I tried it the other day. I did a 456. But I think I 1x'd. I can't remember which corner, but it was a 1x, so it doesn't count. It would count in real life. It doesn't count in this game. So, did you try the ACC update? Yes. Yes. Love it. Yeah, but I can't find it, guys. F1. Nothing. So if I do that and I type Mercedes, Silverstone. Okay. I'm never going to get to Class A. Just never. I've been trying to get there for ages. I always get involved in crashes and shit like that. So let's do an update. Okay. Is the sim harder than real life? Ah, it's harder to concentrate in a sim. There's more distractions, that's for sure. I lose interest quicker in a sim. In real life, you don't. It's easier to focus in real life. So Hey Pedro, thanks man. I got a new camera. I've been wanting to do it for a long time, and then I realized I also had to use HDMI. It took more than a minute to set up, if I'm honest. Okay, cool. So where are we on the update? Halfway. Don't have the fastest internet, if I'm honest. So yeah. How about Nordschleife? Oh, you already covered that. Have you ever driven at any American tracks? Negativo. For those of you oblique about me not finishing Le Mans, I don't mind. I got to race at Le Mans. That's all that matters. It's all that matters. And I get to go back next year, which is cool. So no complaints there. Yeah, before we actually do any runs in iRacing, we're just gonna have to tweak the camera stuff. I forgot to do that layout for here. You see the little rounded corner number and so on. So you're gonna have to bear with me on that. But we're just here to hang out. We're not doing stuff seriously on my stream any longer. Well, given that I'm now stuck in London because of my driving license and my passport being at the DVLA until January, which was not the plan, I probably will do some competitions. Definitely do some more streaming. Gonna have to keep myself busy somehow. So yeah. Okay, iRacing starting up. Bada bing, bada boom. Mercedes. Let's see if we can get close to the lap times of the Mercedes guys. Continue. Okay, so I've never been higher than Class C, guys. I think I need to do much better in the daily races. How do you how do you get to Class A in iRacing? Can someone tell me? I played iRacing for a very long time. How many tracks have I raced at? Um, Whew. I'll start with this. MD, you're just gonna have to crank up your volume, my man. Um, no X. Oh, so no X is. Oh, no, that's never gonna happen to me. How many races do you have to do clean? Yeah. How many races without an X? I can barely do three corners without an X. How many tracks have I driven at? Oh, I was going to tell you. I grew up in Cape Town, where I race karts. Okay, and where I grew up, there's only one racetrack, and I raced at basically one racetrack for the first like 6 of my 7 years in karting. Maybe sometimes once a year went to race in Johannesburg, but most of the time I spent just racing at one track in Cape Town. So I realized this when I was younger. How am I going to learn how to learn other tracks? And that's where I figured out that there was a value in video games. That's when I started to use Gran Turismo with deliberate practice. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with that term, but deliberate practice is practicing with intention. It's not just doing mindless laps. So I used Gran Turismo when I was younger, Gran Turismo 2 and 3 to learn how to learn racetracks because in Cape Town we only had one kart track. Um, and that was when I was like 16, I think, or 15. And already back then, I was like, how is no one else doing what I'm doing? So the other issue that I had was I wasn't able to go practice that often at racetracks. So while my competition was practicing, also I didn't have the budget. I was on the sim. No, no, I was on Gran Turismo back in those days. So um, yeah, now these days I've maybe done, I don't know, actually 20 or 30. I'm not sure. Um, I'm not going to count here. It's going to be very boring. It's not the point, really. Is there a setup for Silverstone? Looks like there is. Okay, so let's go to this one and we'll copy these overlays and the scroller. Copy. Oh, wait, let's just do this. This is much easy. Duplicate. iRacing 2, just so I know. Okay, and game capture can be boop, 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 boop. Does that work? Don't crash the stream. That didn't work. What about that? Don't crash the stream. That didn't work either. That's working because it's a display capture. Okay. So, bear with me, kiddos. Okay. Woo! Properties. Transform. Fit to screen. Boom. Okay. That's what we're going to have to deal with now. Let me just go to drive. Well, first let me choose the setup. No. Has anyone driven this car? Does anyone appreciate how insane this car is to drive in the game? Nico, have you driven it, dude? It's, it's the sickest thing ever. Honestly, love it. Okay, let's see if I'm in the way there. Not really. I should maybe move that to the top, huh? Oh, this is always a one-way ticket to breaking something. Let me just lock everything else. Okay, that's not working. Boom, boom. Oh, come on. Okay. Usually what I do is I go like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Alrighty. I am aware that the volume can be low for some people. I know that. But there's nothing I can do about it because I already have volume cranked up quite high. If I go higher, it's going to go into that like zone where it goes red. So yeah, anyway, let's adjust this volume here so you can actually hear things. All right, just lock all that stuff here. A couple of rules on the MGUH which I need to adjust quickly. You can only adjust it 4 times a lap or something like that. It bugs out very easily. And when that happens, it can be a small nightmare. So yeah, options, control. I changed it the other day, but I did the wrong thing. I did it the wrong way, so. Okay, reset. So, reset, reset, reset. Boom. Boom. Okay. Double check here. Okay, cool. So you got to start your outlap on no deploy. Drive slowish. And is the iRacing F1 Mercedes? No one knows. Anthony Davidson spent 3 days developing it, so yeah. Let's see. Changing the diff for every part of the track. Yeah, I'm not at that level. Oh, but actually, thanks for reminding me because I need to go back and adjust. Why is my keyboard not working? There we go. I need to adjust the diff setting. For those of you who are curious, I'm using the Thrustmaster SF1000 F1 wheel. I love it to death, honestly. Okay, to increase the value, you go up. Yep. And to decrease the value, down. Okay. So the way I have it is, oh, I can't show you, but can I? No, I can't show you. If I had a camera here, which I did experiment with, I had a GoPro hooked up behind me, I could show you, but there's two like windy bits. There's two like windy bits on the rockers on the left and right of the wheel. I use those for the diff, but I never actually adjust the diff. I'm not even there yet. I'm just like, I'm in don't crash mode. All right, how's the sound balance? While I'm doing the outlap, just let me know. Tell me how the sound is, peeps. Okay, cool. I actually haven't driven Silverstone in the game. These corners are a little bit tighter in the right banks. This track in real life is mental. I absolutely love this track. This car is so sick. Just doing like slowly outlaps is so cool. Car's a little loud. Okay. RIP everyone else. This must be easy flat. Oh my god. Should I go down even more? What's your feeling? Should I go down more on the volume? Should definitely try Fanatec Formula V2. I can guarantee you that this wheel rim that I'm using here is it's the Ferrari F1 rim. There's just one thing which doesn't work, so which is a big dial. So it's got all the things that a Formula 1 car needs, and I love this wheel to death. I like the size and everything. So yeah. Too quiet. Now it's too quiet, it's too loud. Oh my god. That must be an off track. One thing about iRacing is that the braking is too sensitive. Nick Foster will disagree with me, but... Oh, I didn't go to full deploy. Okay. This must be easy flats. Reduce the scrub. Oh, too fast in. It's because I'm scared to lock. Oh, this is where Lewis Hamilton and Max make up a lot of time compared to everyone else. Slow corners, slow corners. I'll show you how to make the halo invisible in a moment. Is this flat? Oh, Jesus. Yes. Ridiculous. Oh no. No, one exited. Damn it. I have no inside info with Thrustmaster because I'm no longer sponsored by them. Peeps. Okay, so now just go to no deploy and let the battery build. Every time I drive this car, I'm just like, no, you can go quicker there, no, quicker there. Oh yeah, go 54 on the brakes, correct. Standard, always forget to do that. I'm not going to race because I don't have the right class or license number, whatever. Easy flats, easy flat. What's target lap time around here? We'll see in a second. 26.6. Easy, easy. Started with the 1x? No. So back to quali mode. MGUK is running out of energy. Love this car. Okay, let's go back in and adjust. Now I know the DRS, I'm aware of that. Sometimes I press it too early. I'm also reading chat, it's not helping me. Okay, do you want to know how to get the transparent halo chassis? Okay, well, let's go. Chassis, garage, chassis, transparent halo is right there. Okay, so that's key. Then you got to know that your ERS or MGUK only deploys battery power for 33 seconds in a lap. And be careful with the amount of times you change the deploy settings during a lap. I think you can only do it 4 times before it bugs out, and then the only way to unbug it is going into garage. Can anyone tell me if that's a bug or if that's intentional? I think it's a bug. My best lap at Nordschleife is nothing compared to the big dogs. I think, no, I know I've done a 456, but it was with a 1X, so that doesn't count. But 456 is. Oh. So let me just go back to. I use this thing on the right, it's more accurate for me. I think I'm sitting a little bit high, to be honest, for me, but you guys would criticize me for my FOV. But if it was up to me, I'd probably be doing something like this, like that. But I don't feel like FOV comments today, so. 4 switches are intentional, but why does it get stuck there even when I return to the pits? Oh, come on, David. That was bad. Oh, that's another thing. Because I'm scared of locking the brakes, I often I just don't brake enough at all. And I only do that in this freaking game. Seems to reset. That's not what I've experienced. Sometimes I literally have to go back into the garage, use the mouse, click no deploy, start on no deploy. Okay, we're gonna do that again. This is what we're doing today. We're just chasing lap time. Did I get a 1x there? What's the target lap time here, Nico? I don't want understeer on the exit. I'm realizing that there's a 1x hiding there somewhere I wasn't familiar with. I'll sort that out next lap. Imagine doing that flat in real life. My god. ACC is my favorite, but at the moment, this car in iRacing is my favorite. So if you guys want the steering movements, vote yes or no. I personally find it distracting these days. I used to love it, but if you want steering movements, say yes or no. Yes, okay. I'll do that for the next run. Yes, 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 not bothered. Okay, let's try another run, and then we'll do it after this run. Didn't quite start with enough ERS, but so what? Oh no, David. Woohoo! Do not pirouette these bad boys. Would you do it flat out in real life? Hell no. You mean Cops Corner? Cops? What's the old turn one? Turn one for MotoGP and I didn't want to adjust something there. I wanted to adjust. Oh yeah, no. Graphics, no? Static wheel. Show steering wheel. Oh, that's nice. What happens there? Didn't know that existed. Yeah, Cops Corner. It's no, in a GT car, that's a downshift corner. That is for sure. That is for sure. How do I get it to show turning? So if I show driver arms, does that make it turn? Because it wasn't turning now, I wasn't responding. Let's see. There we go. Okay. Oh, no latency whatsoever. No calibration required. Love that. Okay. By the way, are you experiencing any like lag or jerkiness while I'm driving? Because I forgot to put it in performance mode. Boop. Okay. We go again. Oh, that's weird. That's weird. Whoa, 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 dude. Okay, we're still P3 out of 26 people in the server. It's not bad. this game has no graphics, but it has insane FPS. What are the settings? There should be like, I know that they are like the best settings for the most realistic. Lols, I'm about to do at the next lap, brother. I'm about to join you right there, brother. Oh my god. Okay, a little bit off-putting with the wheel in front of me as well. I want to move the screen closer to me. This just requires a whole new way of thinking. Oh. That's a bummer. But we're going to go slower than in any case, so let's let this captain through. How does it feel? I haven't driven the LMP one in I haven't in iRacing. I've always driven the Mazdas, which I think are the best developed cars in the game, because I have a feeling all the developers of the game own a Mazda. And the GT3s, because, well, everyone wants to know what the GT3s are like, so. Woo! Swirly corners, Maggots, Beckett's, and Chapel. I think it's better to do a V line through there. How far off am I in terms of pace? 4/10. No, a lot now. 6/10. 8/10. My potential's 4/10 off the big dogs, whoever that is, probably like class D or something. Just stay in the high revs here. It seems to charge the battery. Woo! Not the way you want to do it. This is a terrible lap for me. It's different when you guys are watching, if I'm honest. Mr. Michael Price, how you doing, my man? Let's just try and do a lap where I actually hit apexes and don't get a 1x, regardless of charge. Whoopsie. I did a Lewis Hamilton at Jeddah. Sorry, bro. Why isn't it exiting? F. Why is it not freaking going? Enter. Boom. Okay, there we go. All blessed, my brother. Good stuff. Sorry. 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 Alrighty. See, if my engineers told me that someone was coming, it's the engineer's fault. Okay, do we want to change anything? Nope. We just wanted to get a lap in. Yeah, we'll talk about the championship, the F1 race after this. I have a lot of opinions, but I think it's the same as most people. But I do have an observation about the last lap that is different to most people. The crappy thing about having the right FOV with a single screen is you cannot see to the left or right of you. It's going to be interesting when Lando and Max drive this car and they tell us on their streams what it's like, don't you think? Then I'm just going to be a fan, just like you guys, when you ask me about the GT cars in the game. We can find out what the F1 cars are like in the game. Uh-oh. Oh, the understeer. Damn. I think if any F1 driver tries this car, they'll be able to tell us pretty quickly, oh no, that's not what happens in real life. What I tried to do the other day was, and I was going to try and do it for our stream as well, was just see if we could compare an onboard video. But as I've told you before, you can't gain much info from realism from an onboard video compared to when you're driving it. There's just so many more forces and so on. 25.3. Okay, not impossible. But right now, not looking easy for me, that's for sure. Uh-oh, what's this guy gonna do? Looks like the soft tire is only good for one lap. Am I imagining that? Apart from the weather, it is accurate or not? What do you think of the car? Oh, it's fun. I love the car. I was saying earlier, this is the only car I play with just to play. We're not going to talk about the Formula One yet. We've got to get into the 25s before we do that. Which I think is possible. It's just me to A, avoid traffic, and B, not one exits. Woo! This car is awesome though. It's so unnaturally quick, and it just feels like what it would be like in real life, so that's what I like. I need more engine braking for that fiddly bit, so I'm going to adjust it. How do I do that again? Oh, yeah, there we go. Let's just start on 6. A lower number is higher engine braking. Don't know why that's the case, but anyway. And it gives you more rotation. I haven't tried Formula Pro in RF2, to be honest. Alrighty, engine braking on 6. We'll use deploy in a moment. It definitely helps, but I didn't anticipate it would help that much, so. Oopsie. This thing just launches in. It's so sick! I do think my pedals help me lock all the time. I barely touch the pedal, guys. Stay in track, stay in track. Go up with engine braking. Whoa! I forgot to turn off the DRS. Okay, recharge lap. We'll just try and fix those 2 corners. I'm already at 54, which is the lowest brake balance you can go to. You can't go lower than 54. I keep locking in those 2 corners, barely touching the brake pedal. I didn't brake. I was gonna turn and brake, so that's how I lost the car. Yeah, you got to be very sensitive um, with the brakes in iRacing in general. But it seems like this car, as soon as you turn and brake, you got problems. So I use a Thrustmaster TLCMs. I do have other pedals here, which I'll show you in a second. But they don't fit on my rig. I'll show you those after this lap. Please stay out the way, buddy. Oh no! Mr. IndyCar. IndyCar colors at least. Too scared to lock. Losing too much time. No, no, no. We need a reset. We need a brain reset. Do I think they'll release a DD wheel? I think they will. I just have no idea when. I hope they will. More high-speed diff. Okay. You want to talk about F1? No. No, not yet. Not yet. I've got to wait for any potential trolls to leave the building. So, if the trolls leave the building, then we can talk F1. Is there anything I'd like to change on my steering wheel to make it easier? Oh, it's fixed in any case on that side. Lap one. Yeah, he did, but it would have made no difference. I think I agree though. I don't know why they changed the rules for that one. That was weird. That was weird. I mean, since when can you cut a track and keep the position? It hasn't happened in anything this whole season in Formula 2 and Formula 1. So that was weird. Um, oh yeah, let me show you the pedals. They don't fit on my rig. I've had them for ages, courtesy of Nick Foster. I did try mount them, but then there was no space for my feet. So this is what they are. Look at those things. It's like holding a Rolex watch of freaking sim racing equipment. Huh? I want to talk about hydraulic brakes and stuff. I mean, is that a load cell or what? Too bad they don't fit. I mean, they bolt on nicely. There's good mounting points, but they don't they don't serve my needs, so can't use them. What I do want to do is bring this closer so that the screen touches the wheel. Right? Move that further back like that, like that. You can still see the moving boxes over there. So I haven't finished moving yet. Well, in those boxes are things which I need shelving for, so yeah. Okay. Wear knee pads. No, my feet don't fit on the plate. So yeah. Yeah. In iRacing, braking is way too sensitive. Way too sensitive. So you don't I mean, even like in the onboard story earlier, when we're braking, we slam the brake. The initial pressure is huge. Um, so yeah, in iRacing, it's just too easy to lock. Want to talk about the F1 yet? Nope, not gonna do that. Okay, screen is much closer now, which is an adjustment I made when I moved to this house. I can move the whole the the chassis that holds the screen. I can move closer to me. So yeah, these graphics are classic, but it's what you got. So where did I move to? A new place. That's the line I want to take. And then, yeah, that's where I want to be. Those probably cost more than my car. Yeah, I don't know. I'm giving them back to Nick and he'll sell them on, so. Thanks, Nick. Sorry, bro. Yeah, I want to be in another session so I know what the lap times are. Otherwise, what are we doing? You know? 25.3. I just need to get into the 25, so heaven's sakes. Shouldn't be that hard. Yeah, I still live in London, guys. I have to. Oh, come on, David. We'll just go to balance for now and just do a couple of laps like this. I'm pretty sure if I just got into a rhythm, I would be able to. Is there a conversion from bar to kilogram? Not sure. Not sure. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. In terms of seeing the lap times but not being in an isolated room. How do you do that? Not that I want to, but how do you do that? Okay, let's just get a rhythm going here. We're going till the fuel runs out. They've definitely calibrated the MGUK deployments. Pretty smart. So they're saving the battery for the straight now. And deployed now. Very cool. Why not triples, Dave? Mula, 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 mula. And also I think it's a bit of a mission to set up, to be honest. Too fast in. Oh, David, come on, that brake. Just locking, 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 locking. I need to get as much of the braking done before I actually get in there. Oh, running out of fuel. You'll only see your lap times. Oh, I don't want that. I don't want lap times. I don't want to only see mine. I want to see everyone else. We want to talk about the Formula One now? Anyone? Want to talk about it? No. What did I tell you? Yeah, no, it's good. We're good, we're good, we're good, we're good. I thought that the deploy mode was wrong. Only 2.6 seconds off. This happened to me when I was doing Nordschleife at times as well. My first lap was my best lap, and then I had braking issues. So as soon as I drive this car consciously, I lose lap time. No, off track. Whatever, I'll take it. I don't care right now. Terrible. Terrible. Oh yeah, locking up is my #1 issue right now. No question about that. If I increase the diff for like mid, entry, if you increase it, you get less rotation, correct? I got on the power too early there. I don't think staying in 7th helps. I wonder if people are changing setups to achieve these 25s. Just thinking out loud, or if they're using a fixed setup. Because it looks like you can adjust settings, am I right? No. That sector 5 is really weird. Why is that happening? Which one's T7? Too much road there. This one here. Yeah, I'm not enjoying that one at all. In a GT car, I would do a V line, but it doesn't seem to. The V line doesn't work in a Formula One car. In a Formula One car, you got to roll the speed, which is not what I'm used to. Yeah, I don't want to. I don't want more. I'm going to turn down the mid. Okay, we're doing one thing to the setups. Let's see. So what can you change it? You can change fuel, for example. And I'm going to do a super slow out lap. And let's see if just warming up in the final sector. Terrifies us. Why? I don't mind about the terror. Fine BB. I need to ask Chris Freitas, my engineer who works at Mercedes. I would invite him to this call, but he wouldn't accept a call like this one. So let's save the tire for the next lap. So we won't do any flat outs. Easy. Oh. Gonna do the classic Formula One out lap. You know, crawling around, saving the tire as much as I can. And then I'll do what I always do, lock up into turn one. No, turn 1, 2, 3. GT car just depends on your lap preparation. Depends on the track, depends on the tire. Brake magic is definitely not on. Ah! No! No! That was at least our best lap of the session. So I definitely think low fuel helped, lower fuel. And slow out lap, because I didn't lock up nearly as easily into those combined corners. So where are we? P9. I'm only a tenth off my optimum. That's no good. But that's where we are. That's about where we're at. Okay. Should... Oh, TJ, Adam, thanks for the... Is that a... What is a PLN? What currency is that? Oh, the lap time? Can you not see it? You should be able to see it. Yeah, there it is. It's a 26.2. 26.2 lap time. I'm 1 second off the pace, which is about where I'm at. Doesn't Poland use euros? Am I wrong? Okay. Oh, but Poland's part of the Union, isn't it? Okay, so now I can't, because my steering wheel is now up against the screen. Should we just watch it from the outside first? No. Let's do the it's not the cockpit one. What's the roll bar? There we go. Let's go back a bit here. So where can we improve? Okay, I can improve there. There's a tenth there. Whether you hit that apex or not is not as important as getting the rotation. I use the DRS. Surprisingly, no 1x there. This section was much better. That's the best I've taken it, no question. Alright, so now we go through here. This next left-hander, that's better than, but I missed an apex there. I need to be on the curb there. Okay. €1 to 4.6 PLNs. A little bit of understeer on the exit to avoid the 1x. Formula 1, you just 1 exit, right? That was the best I took that part, because I was actually braking like a human. And there you just got to get it straightened up. So, let's give it one more go, and then we'll talk about the F1, okay? One more go, and then we talk about the F1, regardless of how this thing goes. I like how it sounds in the pit lane. .126.0, so I'm basically Lewis Hamilton. His lap around here 2 years ago was crazy. Crazy. Okay, I'm gonna try and focus. I've kind of lost focus. My favorite driver in the world, Alonso. El Plan. Love it. Okay, focus, David. Shut up. Stop freaking talking. Oh no, David. Totally bottled that. So definitely the tires, you have to be very, very, very slow on the outlap. No question about that. That gives you a lot of lap time. Also, don't do the V line like I just did. Woo! Don't touch the wall. Okay. I'm ready now to talk about the F1. So we can do something like that. To keep you guys distracted, for those who are still watching, we'll just go back a couple of laps. We'll turn it a little bit down. Yeah, KERS deploys on its own. There's no KERS button. There's a DRS button. Let's just go. Sorry guys, I need to do this because I can't see over my steering wheel anymore. Because y'all are so obsessed about the the FOV. Let's just go like this. Okay. So, uh, I don't think the Brits are mad with an up and coming. Well, the ones who are sensible aren't mad. We'll just leave that running in the background. Okay. I got Valtteri spot. Yeah, well, Lewis is out of touch. So, disclaimer, I wanted Hamilton to win. Not really because I'm actually a massive fan. Like I always, if it was Hamilton versus Alonso, Alonso every time. If it was, uh, what was the other championship? Hamilton versus Massa. I was a big Massa supporter because I was supporting the underdog. Um, but as time has gone on, I've come to appreciate how insanely good. This isn't working. I mean, how insanely good Hamilton is. And to most people, or no, to a lot of people, they think he's just good because of his car, because he just drives quick. All right. Oh yeah, another disclaimer: my favorite driver of all of F1 is Alonso, but in this championship, I wanted Hamilton to win. I didn't. The fact that Max won also made me happy. Okay, but if I had a choice in this one, I just wanted Hamilton to win. I wanted to see the eighth title. Anyway, Hamilton, in my opinion, goes he takes the car and he goes an extra step. I've always felt that about him. He did that when he was younger. When he was younger, he was the Max Verstappen that we have now, who was like just destroying people on track. Like, I mean, in terms of lap time, in terms of race performance, his first 2 years in F1 were really good. This year was the first year in a long time that he's had a real challenge, and I think he raised his game. And don't worry, I'll get to Max in a second. And when they arrived in Abu Dhabi, equal points, I was like, this is how it should be. And I also think that we witnessed, in my opinion, the best championship, Formula One championship of all time, even better than the Senna Prost era. Anyone who says that a driver like Hamilton only wins because his car is fast, You need to go back in the history books to see that every single driver who's won a Formula One World Championship won because their car is fast. When Senna and Prost were dominating, they were lapping everyone up to third place. You have to go and see that, all right? When Vettel won, he had a double diffuser. He had the fastest car on track. You have to go see that. When Schumacher won with Ferrari, he had the best car on track. You have to go see that. You can't win championships without having at least equally the best car on track. Um, John, I don't agree. Hamilton's won in every single era of F1, and he's won championships in every single series he's ever raced in. So to me, that's more than enough. If you have an untrained eye, you will think that he needs to be seen in a bad car to see how he does. I got news for you. Anyone in a bad car will finish where the car will be capable of doing. Okay? If you put him in a McLaren, he would probably be P4. But if you put Max in a McLaren, it would be the same thing. So you don't need to put a driver like Hamilton, a driver like Max, and so on in bad cars to see their quality. These guys are quality. That's why a championship winning team puts them in their cars, because they know they have much more data than us, and they've dealt with so many more drivers. If they've thought that they could find a better driver on the grid, why would they keep Hamilton in the car? Why would they keep Max in the car? That makes no logical sense. These guys have beaten almost every single driver that they've ever raced against on a consistent basis. I think you're seeing the greatest of all time and the upcoming greatest of all time race against each other. So that to me is what made this championship so good. Max is phenomenal. So anyway, Max won more races, finished on the podium more times, and it was close. So he is a deserving champion, my opinion. My opinion. No, what will happen is next year George will be fast, but when he loses to Hamilton on points, if Hamilton continues, everyone will say that there was a conspiracy that George didn't have the best car and blah blah blah. Guys, George is quick, but so is Hamilton. Hamilton doesn't have 100 poles by coincidence. He doesn't have poles in every era of Formula One by coincidence that he's competed in. So, but put all of that aside. Put the statistics aside. Watch him drive, guys. The car doesn't turn itself. We've just driven a car here, and I've shown you how many mistakes I made. Hamilton makes less mistakes compared to most of the competition, and so Max also makes less mistakes compared to the competition. That's why um, that's why it was him versus Max fighting for the championship. I also don't think Max was in an inferior car necessarily, because if we apply that logic, the same logic, if you replace the driver names, Max was always, in like the last two races, he outqualified everyone by half a second. So now are you just going to attribute that to Max? Or is that also the car? You don't outqualify everyone by half a second if you're in a bad car. It's clear though that Hamilton had a better race car, but you don't know what they were aiming for, right? And that was the beauty of this championship. It was nice and mixed. Okay, now let's talk about Max. Okay, so now you know my opinion of Hamilton, highly rated, but let's um it's just as much driver skill than car. Well, yeah, of course, but the two best drivers went at it this year. Um, the last few races, you could see the gaps to their teammates. These guys elevated themselves. Uh, they did. They really did elevate themselves, which is what happens in a world championship fight. The two drivers who are fighting for it, they find something within them that they can only find when they're in contention for a championship, and then they dominate the field. Okay, put that aside. Max is insane. I mean, he has got incredible, incredible talent. His sense of timing is some of the best I've seen. And he has something that you haven't seen since Senna. When he overtakes you, it's an invitation to crash into him. And he just does it instinctively. He instinctively goes for a move where he's telling you, if you don't let me through, we're going to crash. And I think that's Hamilton balanced that well. He could always anticipate Max's move, and that's why he's always able to turn out of it. They had much less contact because of it. That was Max's brilliance for putting his car there, and also, in my opinion, Lewis's brilliance for not crashing in but still being in contention, having patience. That comes with maturity. Max is going to have that, and he's going to be epic. And in 10 years' time, you're going to have a new generation of F1 fans who are going to say that Max only wins in the best car. Trust me, you'll see that as well. It happens every time. Um, Max was able to operate at a high level of consistency. I mean, if the guy was finishing a race was like first or second, it was unreal. He'd also do was really really good in qualifying. And again, his sense of timing is really good. I think Lewis has the same sense of timing, but Max has phenomenal sense of timing. The guy, when it's flat out highly committed, doesn't miss apexes. Okay, again, you just saw this car is easy to drive in the game, the Mercedes one, and you can still make mistakes. So you still need a good driver to exploit a good car. This is true for any car in the world. You can have good tools, but if you don't know how to use them, trust me, you ain't going fast. All right. Um, cheers, Mike. All right. I think the final race, though, Max was deserving champion. I think Lewis would have also deserved it, but Max was absolutely deserving champion. I'm happy he won the championship. But the way in which the Formula One organization handled that was terrible. It was terrible. And I think that as much as both deserved to win the World Championship, I think that neither deserved to lose it in that style. However, this is where I have a contradiction to everyone else, okay? And you can argue either way. This is just an opinion by someone who sits on a couch and watches F1. I'm not an F1 driver. I'm just telling you I have real life GT experience. I've raced it for championships. I finished second more times than I care to feel. Okay, I hate finishing second, but that seems to be my favorite position. But I'm not a Formula One driver. On the last lap, Max and Lewis arrived at the final overtaking place side by side, which is that bank turn. All right. If Lewis is somehow able to position his car on the inside, maybe we would have had a different result. The fact that he even was able to get with side by side into the final overtaking zone with those tires was, in my opinion, an indication of his skill. Okay, but he made a mistake, in my opinion. The guy that I was supporting, and this is what people can't admit for some reason, I think, and this is with perfect hindsight, by the way, it's really easy to criticize someone after you've analyzed every single move. And it's impossible for us to appreciate the pressure and the mental space that they were in on the final lap of a championship. Remember, I think on that final lap, everything was just pure instinct. I think that if Lewis defended aggressively and moved just before braking to the inside of T1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is the hairpin, correct? I think that he would have been able to defend Max onto the back straight. Max would have tried to slipstream past, maybe would have gone deep, and maybe Lewis would have been able to get him on the inside of that final turn. There was also an opportunity when they exited the chicane. I can't believe Lewis didn't have any wheel spin there. Okay, he had perfect throttle application, where in the slipstream, he didn't dummy to the left. He just went immediately to the right. Maybe there's an opportunity to fake right and then go left. A classic Kelvin van der Linde move. Based on that flawed logic that I'm saying here, would the soft tires have really made much of a difference? I'll propose this argument to you. If they were both on soft tires, do you think Max wouldn't have gone for the move that he did? He would have still gone for the move. So they would have still entered the back straight side by side or within a toe. And Max would have still run deep and Lewis would have still got a run on the outside, but Max would have still protected the inside, regardless of tire. So just think about that. Now, I don't think that last lap should have happened in the first place. Okay? I think what Michael Massey did was a joke. And it wasn't, I'm not saying this from Lewis's perspective. The lap 1 decision was also a joke. Why didn't Lewis have to give back the position? That was ridiculous. Luckily, we kind of rebalanced the books there because Sergio was able to slow Lewis back down. So you could almost say that there was a net balance there. I think that both teams suffered from inconsistent decision making. And I hate that the final lap came down to a random decision with random rules, random interpretation of the rules. Again, I'm happy Max won. I really am. I don't believe that there should be this bullshit of um, sharing the trophy and all this nonsense. No, we have to have a champion. We have to have a champion. At the end of the day, if I think if things played out in the last lap differently, maybe we would have had a different champion. Probably not. Probably not. Max clearly had a tire advantage, clearly, but they still arrived in the last overtaking spot side by side. But the way that Michael Massey handled that was terrible. In perfect hindsight, let's have a red flag. Let's have a red flag. I don't think that you could have ended the race behind a safety car, and that could have been like, oh, well, that's a bummer, right? That's a bummer. Or you could have ended it with the lapped cars between them. Max would have arrived at Hamilton into the bank turn because I think the lap cars would have moved out the way. I really do believe that. Um, but that's not what happened. And we got Max as champion. Now, Mercedes is pissed. Mercedes is pissed about the way that it was decided. And I'm sad about it because the driver I was supporting didn't win. So what? And I'm really sad that Toto and Lewis didn't go to the Formula One prize giving. Because even if they're upset and pissed off with Formula One, you should still honor your competitors. If you finish second, you need to go and stand up there and be like, okay, yeah, I finished second this year. I hate the way the decisions were made. Guys, when I lost a championship 2 years ago, trust me, I truly believe that we were screwed over by the officials. I won't say which championship was on, but I finished second in a championship where nothing went our way from random decisions. I saw my competitors break the rules multiple times, and they won the championship. But I still had to go to prize giving as second place. I hated the officials for what they did to me. Okay? But I still went and honored the guys who won the championship. Do I believe they were deserving? No, I thought I should have won the fucking championship. But I still went, stood up there, and freaking had to do what you have to do when you're a loser. So, yes, Toto and Lewis are angry. I understand why. Again, I agree that the last lap shouldn't have happened. But I still think you have to go to the FIA prize giving. And you know what? When Lewis got out the car at the race, he handled it to perfection. I mean, he was graceful, man. Like the way that Massa handled his loss in 2008 when Lewis beat him by a point, Lewis handled it just as well at the track. But still got to go with prize giving. And I think up till that point, Lewis has been a great loser. Just like Max, they both have been able to cope with the second place very well. Seriously, trust me now, you wouldn't be able to cope with it how they cope with it. They are exceptionally professional sportsmen, human beings who have been trained, who have been optimized, who really truly know how to manage their emotions. Okay? There's been many races this year where both have finished second and it's like questionable why they were second. And they're like, that's okay. Take the points. That's racing. Da da da. And then Abu Dhabi happened. Hamilton handled well. His dad handled it like a champ. And then they didn't go to the FIA prize giving. And that makes me sad because I'm a big Lewis fan. I wish I had the mental game that he has, along with his speed and sense of timing. But not showing up for the races, for the prize giving, has made me sad because just like I don't like when Max just sends it down the inside of someone, and then what the example that sets for young drivers. I also don't like it when if you lose, you don't pitch up to honor the winners, and that's how it goes. Um, so, yeah, crazy championship. I'm glad we get to speak about it for the rest of our lives. I do think it's a bit tainted though, no matter who won. No matter who won, because if Lewis won, we would have been talking about the turn one incident. That would have made no difference. Lewis would have overtaken him. We're talking about the safety car instead. So we would have been having this discussion on the other side, right? Um, but still a crazy championship. how crazy is it that they arrived time points? I thought up until qualifying at Abu Dhabi, I thought Max was going to win it. What if you were about to quit the championship for next year? Yeah, you still got to go to prize giving. You still got to go. Has Lewis ever had second place guy not show up at his prize giving? I know that the FIA screwed him over with their terrible decision making. They did. You still got to go, guys. That's my opinion. If you're going to protest the FIA, protest them in court. Okay, glad that they took the court decision away, the appeal away. But yeah, John, I don't know if you can say fate. Racing is crazy. Sometimes it goes either way. I don't know if it's fate. So yeah, yeah. Look, up until I've got it in my live stream, 2 live streams ago, someone was saying that the FIA only favors Mercedes. It's not true. Michael Massey was trying to keep it sporting, but in his interpretation, he got caught up. And guys, there should be no scenario where the team managers are able to campaign inside of the race director's ear when incidents are happening on track. There should never, ever, ever, ever be there. So, no, Mercedes aren't going anywhere. Mercedes aren't going anywhere. I do hope that Hamilton comes back, but I understand he should have gone to FIA prize giving. Said very nice things about Max because he's been very respectful about Max. I think they both have. They have respect for each other. And then he could have said, the way that the FIA treated the last race, blah blah, I'm quitting. I would have been fine by that. But he can't quit now. No, no, he's got to come back. He's got to win. Yeah, he's got to win. So yeah, my opinion. Well, Massey made lots of wrong decisions. He made a wrong decision on turn one, and he made a wrong decision with the safety car. He the letting some cars pass was like such a stretch of the interpretation of the rules. So yeah, who said that he races for money? No, Lewis doesn't race for money, guys. Yeah. Next year we're still gonna have um, decisions determined by the race director, uh, unless Massey is replaced. It's not clear that he'll be replaced. And by the way, his position is incredible. I don't envy him. I'd hate to be in his position. I'd absolutely hate to be in his position. So we don't know what Charlie would have done, guys. We don't know what anyone would have done. It's not fair. But I just hate how it went. That's all. Yeah. Um, yeah, the manufacturers win the money, but it's very clear the value is placed, the true value of Formula One is placed in the Drivers' Championship. Because if Mercedes cared more about manufacturers, the reaction would have been very different. Oh, shame, Lewis, don't worry, but yes, we were manufacturer champions. They're like, yeah, cool, but we care more about what happened to Lewis. So, yeah. I also don't think Lewis doesn't have the personality type to walk away. I just hope he doesn't. That's all. I just hope he doesn't. And I hope we get more racing between him and Max. You are witnessing two of the greatest drivers of all time. I don't care if you disagree with me. It means you're not watching driving if you disagree. Because, I mean, the way that these guys drive and how they place a car every single lap. And it's not just the driving, it's the mental game under pressure. Wow, it's phenomenal. Yeah. I don't, maybe Massey is overworked. Maybe. Maybe. Toto's not Mercedes, but he owns more of the team than I think Mercedes does. Yeah, I know. Look, um, so if all the all the cars were lapped, no, no, the point was letting the lap cars go and then starting the race immediately. That's literally not written in the rules. That's not written in the rules. So it doesn't matter. I don't think that's how it should have happened. And again, even though it did happen, they still arrived. Guys, this is very important. Rewatch the race. They arrived at the last overtaking zone side by side, regardless of tires. So now go backwards from there. What could have happened different if you overanalyze it as a driver and think to yourself, how do I improve as a driver? If I'm in that situation, can I maybe do something different? Without criticizing those two guys. I'm not criticizing either of them. I'm just looking objectively. Okay, did Lewis leave the door open? Did Max send it too hard? What would have happened if Lewis ran a defensive line? What happens if Lewis completely opened the door? Because Lewis was surprised by Max coming. You could see with his hand movements. If he'd set up Max to go in and then undercut him, would he have arrived at the chicane in front? But I think Max would have gone for a move anyway. Probably would have cut the chicane and not given the position back, because that's what Lewis did on lap 1. So, yeah. Uh, yeah. I don't no, I don't think if Lewis felt like he lost the championship down to himself, I genuinely believe we wouldn't have this drama. Genuinely, I don't think he's taking it hard because he opened the door. He doesn't think that. He's thinking, I I didn't have the tires. It wasn't a fair race. I mean, head to head, it wasn't a fair race. One guy had 40 lap tires, other guy had brand new soft. So Massey's decision, like it's a motor race, that's bullshit, because that was if Massey wanted a race to the flag, it's not quite the thing. Still, Max deserved the world championship. Don't take me out of context. Yeah. So, Nico, you you missed everything, dude. All right. So you got what you wanted from me, gents. The only thing you didn't get was a 25. Should we give it one more go? What's the time? Mm, yeah. Oh, Nico, you're just gonna have to rewind, my man. Yeah, but guys, you don't understand. For those of you who are criticizing the team bosses for talking into the radio, okay? That's their job. They were given the door and it was open. This is wrong. There should be no open door. If you, as the team manager, are given the open door, guess what? You walk in there, you bash it down, you do anything you can to gain a competitive advantage. What he did was not against the rules, by the way. What Toto and Horner were doing by lobbying the race control, they weren't breaking any rules, guys. Nothing there was wrong because they both did it. Okay, one was asking more extreme than the other, but depends on whose side of the argument you're on. The end of the story is the team managers should not have direct access to race director. There should probably be a layer below, and it should probably be strategists or something who can talk to someone who Massey delivers information to. But it can't be the race director who's making split-second decisions of red flags, marshals on track, debris, virtual safety cars, all of that stuff. All of that stuff. There should be no, there should be a wall. Boom. Race directors can't hear team managers. But if the team manager has a line to race direction, okay, the team manager has to maximize their advantage, which is exactly what Horner and Toto were doing. You can decide, oh, it was good or bad, but that's what they were doing. They're allowed to do that because someone gave them permission to do that. It's obscene. Yeah. Why it's not a proper race? Should have changed tires. He had seven. No, they didn't. Max, Lewis, dude, did you watch the same race? Have you done the math? If Lewis changed tires, it wouldn't have made a difference. He would have probably come out second to Max. But that's my point. Hear me out. The tires isn't necessarily what lost that championship, because where did they arrived at the final overtaking point side by side. So it wasn't if you put if you are a race director and you're like, let's end it with a fair race, okay? But one guy has 40 lap tires and another guy has brand new softs. That's not a fair race with a 1 lap dash, okay? That's not my argument. I'm just telling you, if that was the logic applied, it was bad logic, okay? But at the same time, Lewis arrived side by side with Max into the bank turn, which is the last overtaking place. No one's overtaking in sector 3. No one. So getting a run out the chicane, shit, maybe he could have dummied, but Max is too smart for that. Max was always going to wait. So when you're in that position where you think you're going to be dummied, you defend, and you wait until the driver behind you, okay, has made a move to one side of the track. As soon as he's done it to the outside, you slow down half a K, you lift whatever, so that your car then positions itself, you position the car rather, so that he can't come under. Okay? So you don't just stay flat out. As soon as that person moves to the outside, you defend by slowing down a little bit so they can't cut under. And then if you have superior tires, they can't get the move done. All right, so yeah, I still think it was phenomenal that Lewis was able to be side by side. I don't know how he didn't like just spin the tires on the exit of the chicane. It shows that he had crazy presence of mind. But yeah, I just think in perfect hindsight, maybe you could have done a red flag given the circumstances, because he changed the rules for the circumstances at the end. What I think should happen going forward is that if there is the requirement of a safety car with 5 laps to go within a 5 lap window, should be a red flag. Restart, 5 lap dash, baby, from a racer's point of view. Yeah, yeah. Do you think Ham leaves space for the dive in lap one? Uh, yeah, but Hamilton was further ahead because he had a better start, and Max ran wide in T1. So Lewis got a jump. If Max ran wide in T1 at the end of the race, Lewis wouldn't have had to have defended into T5. So yeah, the red flag wasn't. I'm just saying the red flag wasn't justified. I'm just saying if you're doing it to keep things interesting, which is what Massey said, this is a motor race. He didn't follow the rules in the last lap. So if it is to that, let's put it in the rules. That's all. Let's make it cool. If there's a safety car in the last 5 laps, guess what? We're going to a red flag. In the Silverstone crash, I think if it was either driver on the inside, the same thing would have happened. One of them would have been in the wall. I genuinely believe that, because Max hasn't exactly had a reputation of backing out of overtaking moves. And I definitely don't think Lewis did it on purpose. I mean, what the hell? The impact was big enough that they could have both been taken out. So, yeah, Monza as well. My opinion, racing incident, two champions going at each other. I don't blame either driver for when they crashed into each other. I really don't. Yeah. So, yeah. Um, I just I like both drivers, but I wanted Hamilton to win, but I like both drivers for different reasons. And I do think that Max is the young version of Lewis. If you didn't watch Formula One religiously, you wouldn't really know, because it's watching in hindsight, it's not quite the same thing. But Lewis arrived on the scene with the same fire that Max has, so it's cool. Yeah. Hamilton clips drivers all the time. Yeah, but he did fix that, by the way. But that move on Max, I think the move, yeah, I I think if you reversed it, I think the same thing would have happened. Same thing if you reversed it in Monza. If you reversed it in Monza, would the same thing have happened? Yeah, maybe Lewis would have backed out. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But if the cars were allowed to unlap themselves, yes, but no. If they follow the rules, you unlap the cars and then you start the race the next lap after the checkered flag. So the rule that was, I would say, broken wasn't letting unlapped cars go past. It was very weird that he only let the 5 of them go past, but that doesn't matter. It was that he started the race 30 seconds later. That's not in the rules. So anyway, um, the question now is, speaking as a fan of Lewis, I don't know if he's going to win a world championship again. Let's see. I hope he does. I hope he wins his 8th. That's why I wanted him to win. Just be like, boom, like Titanic battle, And you know what? Next year we're not going to have close racing like I think we had this year. That's my feeling. Yeah. So yeah. Well, you know, Lewis had to do a lot of overtaking as well, Mike. What if lap cars staying behind the safety car? Yeah, look, it doesn't matter about that. Whatever. I have no problem with the lap cars being allowed to overtake. It was just the sequence. Look, guys, we have to follow the rules. That's my point here. And the rules weren't followed in the last two laps. That's all. That's all. Whether it was Max in front or Lewis, if Max lost this way on the last lap, I would have the same opinion, guys. I'd have the same opinion. Like I said, they both deserve to win it, and neither deserve to lose it in the style in which the race was handled. But there has to be a winner and a loser, and Lewis should have still gone to FIA prize giving. Yeah, yeah. Well, we don't know what the car's going to be like next year. My favorite battle was actually Jeddah, to be honest, and Brazil. I think Jeddah though. I think Jeddah was insane. I think that was like the peak of two drivers trying to assert themselves. Because there was like mostly equal, by the way. People say that Lewis had a dominant car, but Max stayed easily in Bottas's slipstream. Easily in the slipstream of the Merc. So, trust me, anyone who says that Max won in an inferior car, it's like, what are you watching? Are we watching the same thing? They don't just go faster. Do you think Max just finds apexes by miracle? You have to have a good car to find apexes. So, yeah. Qatar wasn't so good. Lewis was good in Qatar. Lewis won that race in Qatar, but there was no racing there between those two. Uh, I think the best battle we had was in Jeddah because it was so fucking crazy. I hope because I'm a huge Formula One fan, and trust me, I've been a Formula One like diehard. I visit Autosports 10,000 times a day, and I still do. Um, I hope that next year is exciting, but the rule changes. They often spread things out. Yeah. Oh yeah, Adam, I'm referring mostly to the Max versus Hamilton thing. Yeah, I mean the coolest thing in Qatar was seeing how that's a track designed for F1. Yeah. I think no, Massey has plenty of information. No, Massey didn't make a decision based on information or anything. He just made a random decision, guys, that benefited one team over the other. Random. the, the rules state you have to wait a lap, and then there's like this little caveat, 15 point whatever, that the race director can override that, but it's not that clear, by the way. It's not that clear. So yeah, but FIA's budget is huge. Formula One's budget is huge now. It's massive. It really is. Massey had more than enough uh, information to make the right decision, and the right decision was not that decision. That's all. Um, He made a Netflix decision. Yeah. Will you be racing in WEC? I didn't race in WEC last year. I raced in ELMS. Next year, I will tell you what I'm doing next year. Next year. Thoughts on Red Bull building their own engine? It's not. No. Honda's building it. It's got a Red Bull badge. So it's just not going to be called a Honda. And they're building an engine department, but it doesn't get done in 6 months. Well, yeah. This Michael or 93, Michael Hamlet, head of Simgrid. Um, yeah. Do I think I think definitely he's a human being. Massey definitely must have been in some way influenced. When remember he said no cars are going to overtake, and then Horner said we only need one lap, Michael. And Michael went probably who knows what went inside Michael's head. But do you want the team managers screaming in your ear when you're trying to make a decision? Cut that shit out for both sides. Cut that shit out. We don't know anything about next year, guys. I know Formula One simulator drivers personally, almost speak to them daily. They don't know where anything stands. So we have no idea. We just can hope. We can hope that we have a close race. I'm a Ferrari fan, obviously. I hope Ferrari's up there. Don't know. We have no idea. Yeah, Adam, that's how it works, my man. This is the key thing with racing. I have friends who are like, oh, Red Bull are never going to win this. I was like, what are you talking about? This is Formula One. Anything can happen. It's not about the stopwatch always. In racing, anything can happen. You can dominate until the very last lap and then have a failure. Or have a race director make up a random rule. Or you can have a tire failure. Whatever. Those things happen. Those things happen all the time. I finished second last year, tied first, by the way. Last year in ELMS, I finished tied first, relegated second on countback. I was leading the championship and the race until 15 minutes to go. Safety car came out. Boom. Race over. That was it for me because someone crashed and had to bring out the safety car. It felt very similar, but in that case, they did everything correct, and we had 15 minutes to sort it out. So I had 15 minutes of pain in the car, knowing that I was going to lose the fucking thing. But yeah, also bear in mind that Lewis won his first championship with a last lap. Like, what the hell was that? So and that time I was supporting Massa in that one. My heart bled. I still can't watch that race. I can't watch that race, and I can't rewatch the race where Vettel spun in Brazil, got hit by Senna, Bruno Senna, and carried on going when I think that Alonso should have won that championship. I can't rewatch that race. I'll die inside. Alonso's, my boy, and I won't be able to watch Abu Dhabi again because I was supporting Hamilton. So what's the moral of the story here, guys? Don't support who I'm going to support. They're likely going to finish second. Yeah. Yeah. Also, Massey negotiating the grid in Jeddah. What was that? What was that? Jesus. Anyway, yeah. Lamar, I'm doing next year. I'm willing to tell you that. I'm doing Lamar. Okay, guys, we've had enough of chat. First of all, I want to say, chat, that was much more civilized than I was expecting. So, respect to anyone who hung around. How many views are there? Like 30 left? Still almost 100. Yeah. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the onboard story. I hope you like the new camera layout and stuff. And I hope you appreciated the F1 chat. I hope that I came across as reasonable as I could. And yeah, just appreciate that you enjoyed. You got to watch one of the best races of all time, championships of all time, in any formula. Amazing. All right. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be back next week, hopefully on Tuesday, hopefully twice next week because mostly holiday. And yeah, thank you. Hopefully next time we'll get a 25 in the F1 iRacing thing. Until then, catch her on the next lap.